So with another multiplayer weekend happening, Battlefield 6 is shaping up to be the series' big comeback after the disappointing 2042 launch. The game is launching on October 10th and has already been tearing up Steam charts during the pre-orders. In this breakdown, we're going to run through everything you need to know: the classes, the weapons, the vehicles and maps, the modes and pacing, plus what the community has to say about Battlefield 6 that might stack up against Call of Duty or even the new competitors like Arc Raiders. Battlefield 6 is entering the arena with many other games in late 2025. DICE has confirmed an October 10th, 2025 launch date with a standard edition price around $80 for consoles and a slightly lower price for PCs, and that basically undercuts all the rumors of it being lower than an $80 console price. After the barren launch of 2042, which infamously had no scoreboard or server browser, fans are cautiously optimistic about Battlefield 6. The recent world premiere trailer shot Battlefield 6 to #1 on the Steam charts, showing that the hype is still very real. Pre-orders are looking strong, but players aren't blindly just jumping into Battlefield 6 this time. Many comments that I've seen reminded DICE that this is a do or die moment for the franchise. Early impressions have been building steadily. DICE has been running the biggest betas for the series with back-to-back weekends, offering up a ton of content for players to look at. The second beta weekend added new maps like the Empire State and modes like the Rush and Squad Deathmatch, but all of this indicates that DICE is taking this very seriously and getting it right. In fact, the studio leads have even contrasted Battlefield 6's approach with the competition. He argues that while Battlefield and Call of Duty may occupy the same genre, they complement each other rather than being a direct rival to each other. Battlefield's unique selling points have always been cited as the massive destruction, open terrain, and class-based combat, with things that nobody else can really pull off. So DICE is really kind of showing that Battlefield is through and through less arcadey and more strategic. For classes and roles, Battlefield 6 returns with the familiar 4-class system. There's no more specialists or random gadgets, however. The 4 roles are Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon. Each class comes with a signature gadget and type of weapon that defines the role itself, and from my hands-on time in the beta, these roles feel actually pretty distinct. The Assault class is the main point man and the frontliner. Assault players can regenerate health faster with an adrenaline shot, carry a shotgun and an assault rifle, and even a grenade launcher to blast open walls that are nearby. They're built for the short to mid-range firefights and fast movement, and in my games, I've been using the Assault class to clear buildings and take A-point objectives. So if you like running and gunning, Assault is straightforward and fun. Aim your shotgun at the center mass for quick kills, and hip firing is also surprisingly effective as well. Save your grenade launcher for breaking enemy cover and avoid getting stuck in a tank battle. Your normal weapons won't fare well versus tank vehicles, and for public matches, make sure you're abusing the healing boost after fights to stay in the action. The Engineer is still the tech and anti-vehicle specialist. Engineers can repair friendly vehicles and use rockets or C4 to destroy enemies. Their default weapon is the SMG for close quarters as well, and in practice, the Engineer became my go-to way for taking out enemy IFVs or the artillery. You can lay your mines or RPG and use the SMG only when infantry is nearby. Keeping the repair tool in hand can hop into damaged tanks and prolong its lifespan as well, and in Publix, if you're losing vehicles left and right, simply switch to an Engineer and hunt them down. The support role is obviously the ammo and medic role. Support soldiers come with a light machine gun and the crucial healing and ammo aura. They can provide ammo and health to nearby teammates, and in the games that I played, a good support essentially acts like the team's mobile supply crate. You lay down some suppressing fire with your LMG and keep everybody topped up. And make sure you're also sticking with your squad if you're playing the support class. When you're the support, throw ammo packs before running into the fight and revive fallen teammates as soon as you can. I know players sometimes skip through revives, but one quick revive is totally worth it. Going prone and also mounting your LMG in choke points is a great maneuver as well. The higher ammo count turns into a sustained cover fire through narrow hallways. And make sure if you're playing the support in public matches, you're basically the unsung hero in the match. You can basically get around and revive everybody and really turn the tide in any match you play. And next, if you're playing Recon, they're the classic scout and sniper. Recon wields the sniper rifle that everybody's been using throughout the multiplayer beta. Gadgets like motion sensors can be deployable, as well as some C4. They can mark enemies for the entire squad if you get the upgrade. They can also one-shot kill targets from range with the sniper rifle. And as soon as I got on the Recon class, I felt like I was hitting my sweet spot. You go into a high perch or a back alley off the spawn point, stay hidden, and then pull the trigger, and nobody knows where you're really at. Recon is a glass cannon, however, so if you get collapsed on, you're pretty much done for. So if a target is low on HP, just pull the trigger. And remember, the Recon is an instant kill and denies a revive by default, so even people that are near death, you can simply pull the trigger and deny the revive. All classes also earn an extra equipment slot called Field Specs, which you earn by gaining XP as well. In general, learning all these class roles together is key. In my experiences with the beta, the ease of use felt pretty clear. Assault is easily the simplest for newbies, but the ultimate best class is still situational at best. If the air is thick with the aircraft, drop more Engineers. If anybody is dying on the point, add supports. And if the field is open, Recon becomes really lethal. The bottom line is make sure you know all these classes so you can adapt to any situation. Inside each class, the weapon meta is already forming. Battlefield 6's gunplay feels fast and deadly. For assault rifles, the go-to AR is the NVO-228E. It's a slow fire, high damage, mid-range laser of a weapon. In-game, I found it punches through anybody's health very quickly. Pair it with the 2-shot secondary P18 pistol if you need to. You can slap the 4X scope on the full metal auto for longer shots as well. Another great all-rounder is the M4A1 carbine as well. You can use this for mid to close range range, but it's hyper accurate if you burst. For shotguns, the M87A1 is the poster child of the beta. This thing will one-shot kill at point blank range and is being used by everybody in the beta right now. I legit saw players hip firing this thing from halfway across the map, and it became so absurd that by the weekend's end, the devs had already nerfed it to the next build. My advice is that every shotgun in the game is pretty dangerous at the moment, so close quarters is a little sketchy, but try not to be on the receiving end of any shotgun really. For SMGs, the best SMG is the PW7A2. This is the engineer's primary class weapon, and it's recoil friendly. It has laser-like accuracy and moderate mid-range abilities as well. You can slap a long suppressor or an extended mag to dominate alleys. The alternative SGX SMG is slightly stronger up close but with less range, so choose your weapon based on the map tightness. For LMGs, the bread and butter is the L110. This thing has a broad bullet spread, but it's best used when mounted. In combat, I would set up in a tight alley or near a wall and keep 100% of my suppressing fire on the objective. This thing won't kill as fast as the shotgun, but it's perfect for suppressing the enemy push or pushing them back if you need to. For DMRs and snipers on the recon class, the one-shot weapons include the M210 ESR sniper. In open maps, I liked the ESR since my hits landed easier. Also, the recon class has its own one-shot signature sniper, which lets you instantly gib players without revival. So if you're into long-range weapons, this is definitely for you. Pistols are all basically default sidearms. I liked the P18 on the assault class. They're mostly just backup. I pick them up when handy or if I'm out of ammo by chance, but that rarely happens so far in the multiplayer beta, so take whatever one you'd like. Moving on to the maps, at launch, Battlefield 6 will boast 9 multiplayer maps, with the 4 maps that we're already playing in the beta showing a huge amount of variety. The Siege of Cairo is an urban maze with narrow alleyways punctuated by wide streets and courtyards. Dropping into Cairo immediately feels like tight corridor vibes. Many buildings offer flank paths to the rooftops, and choke points around the fountains and squares are hot. I found myself using the concussion grenades a lot here. If you're playing support, make sure you're covering those same doorways with your LMG providing suppressing fire, as tanks and IFVs operate mainly in the open plazas. Gibraltar felt like a stone and street close quarters carnage festival. The beta map had a dense neighborhood and a destructible facade and a lot of elevation changes. Vehicles in this map are limited to light transports and IFVs, making it really a ground-centric map. I would really move around in packs of 2 to 3 when pushing around this map. Single players will probably die really quick, and smoke grenades can also help you dash across the open courtyards. Liberation Peak is actually the polar opposite. Wide open ranges and snowy bases. You'll see jets flying by and expect a lot of altitude. On Liberation Peak, you should aim to fly a chopper if you can, and if you're in the infantry, use cover behind rocks and keep the base's anti-aerial guns in mind. The map has IFVs, tanks, and mobile anti-air, so grabbing an MBT or an attack heli can turn the tide if used smartly, but they can also be killed by a coordinated push to protect them well. In summary, I'm really liking the variety of maps that I'm seeing so far. I do think they are rather small for the classic big team battle maps that we've seen from Battlefield historically, but I'm interested to see what they come up with later. For the game modes and longevity pacing itself, Battlefield's modes are classical and fan approved. In the beta weekend, we've had Conquest so far, the bread and butter mode. 2 teams capture multiple flags across the map, draining the enemy's manpower with kills and revives. Conquest is all about the teamwork and map control. You can rush flags as a squad, you can chain revives, and hold as many points as possible. The beta weekend also added a small 4v4 squad deathmatch mode, but it doesn't really feel like Battlefield, so I'm having a hard time justifying why it feels more like Call of Duty this time around than it does for Battlefield. I feel like Battlefield should always stick to what it does best, which is those big team battles instead of trying to be a little bit of everything. The community mood has been mostly positive about Battlefield 6. The reveal trailer unleashed a flood of excitement, and fans were applauding the return of destruction and combined arms. The consensus that we've basically seen is finally this actually looks like Battlefield again. There's definitely been some hype and definitely some criticism, but overall it's actually looking pretty good. During the beta, players have been digging into every detail of the game, and the overall gunplay and movement have drawn out compliments. Players have said that this feels like a classic Battlefield shooter at heart, and this was the common sentiment among several creators. Destruction of buildings is also back to its full power, and blowing out chunks of buildings for flanking has been actually really fun. However, there have been some criticisms, as any beta should have. Right now, the shotgun meta, which is currently one-shotting, was so overpowering that community managers had to quash it and patch it really quickly. Some weapons like the pistols had what felt like zero recoil as well, leading to some complaints about balance. DICE, however, has been on it and explained how recoil works for these weapons, and others have noted that the close-range TTK is also feeling a little bit fast and more Call of Duty-like than it does for Battlefield. And on the more positive side, features that were missing from Battlefield 2042 are returning. As well, they're posting a no extra cost Battle Royale season at launch. Instead, DICE has been teasing a free Battlefield Labs mode included with the Battle Royale feature, and crucially, DICE has listened about the no server browsing feature from 2042. Battlefield 6 won't have a traditional server browser either, but it will have new filters and custom search features to satisfy veterans. The community sentiment that I felt myself has been a mix of excitement and worry. We want this to be a really great game, but we won't forget the blatant bugs or live service pitfalls of 2042. At least in the beta that I've seen over the last couple weeks, there are a few bugs or crashes, and it ran surprisingly smooth on my rig. The combined player feedback has already led to some great developer changes in the moment, which is really great to see. And all of the great things about the Battlefield 6 beta so far aside, let's talk about the elephant in the room here that people have kind of been talking about a little bit louder. Is the game a little bit more like Call of Duty than it should be? Obviously, no multiplayer shooter exists in isolation. Many players are asking, is this the COD killer or is this still just COD? And this is odd because the official statement from DICE leadership is that Battlefield 6 isn't trying to directly fight COD, they want to coexist with it. The president of DICE has even said that Battlefield and COD complement each other in many different ways, citing Battlefield's destruction and large-scale class warfare as unique draws, and that they know that COD leans to the fast-paced, twitchy, heavily perk-driven combat style. Battlefield 6 is clearly aiming at the opposite slow and steady positional and skill-based combat style instead, which has even led the devs into saying that if you're more into skill, then our game is for you. That said, the competitive shooter landscape is really thick in October. Another challenger in October is Arc Raiders, and even though it's a completely different genre as an extraction shooter, Arc Raiders is actually looking pretty cool. Blending post-apocalyptic sci-fi with a social FPS action, I don't really see it drawing away from Battlefield's core audience, but I can definitely see a lot of people being interested in it. If anything, Arc Raiders is going to appeal to another looter shooter type crowd, whereas Battlefield 6 is appealing to the massive realistic tactical type fans. However, October is still very jammed, and players are going to have to make a choice between Battlefield, Call of Duty, or Arc Raiders come the end of October. It's all going to really come down to the genre that you like. Do you like that fast-paced shooter style, or do you like Battlefield's big team battle style? Or do you prefer the slow and steady extraction survival combat of Arc Raiders? There really is no wrong answer on this one, and for former Blizzard employees coming out saying that Battlefield 6 will boot stomp Call of Duty or Arc Raiders, I really gotta say I'm not actually quite sure on that one. I think in this case that October is going to be extremely competitive, and we're going to be seeing several different shooters come out of the woodwork. I think the end of October is going to be extremely competitive, and players are going to have a hard time choosing on which game they'd like to settle into. That being said, Battlefield 6's beta has been a solid test drive, and everything I've seen indicates that DICE is on the right track. The engine feels powerful, the action feels responsive, and the pacing lets you breathe between firefights. It's still easy to get eliminated at the wrong time, but you will always have something to do. I'm eager to keep playing and see how they polish the rough edges of Battlefield 6. Come October, we'll jump into the full campaign, the global conquest layers, and see if Battlefield 6 finally reclaims the top spot in the FPS genre. For now, if you have access to the beta, try out all the classes. Stick to your squad and try out what suits you best. Don't be afraid to specialize in something, and if you haven't tried it yet, hop into a vehicle and run around the map and cause some chaos. Battlefield 6 feels like a celebration of everything that the fans loved about the series, with massive destruction, deep class interplay, and all-out war, and with the launch just a few months away, I'm already clearing up the end of October for what's going to be an extremely packed multiplayer shooter schedule. Anyway guys, that's really all I have for you today. I hope you've been enjoying the Battlefield 6 beta. Make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.